Hi everyone, welcome to Amy Lieu Presents. My next guest is very disoriented but not very good at math. Please welcome the very funny Jenny Yang.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you.
You're welcome. This is a fantastical set. It's worth a visit. Look at it. I'm sitting on, I don't know, can tops.
So tell us your journey with comedy. How long have you been doing it and how did you get into it?
Let's see. I started probably about 6 years ago at this point, and which sounds like a long time now, but I'm still a newbie, I feel like. In sort of comedy years, it's anywhere between 7 and 10 years, you're still a newbie. But yeah, that's what happened. I started about 6 years ago. Before that, I used to be a poet and a writer, and just doing it on the side because I used to work in my day job as a political person. But yeah, and then I just decided, well, life is too short. Let's try comedy, stand-up comedy, because I had gotten all this feedback in the past about it, and
That you were funny.
that I was funny, and I think I had sort of started to grow not as fulfilled with my previous career, and so I was just looking for something that could fill me and fulfill me, and so I just decided to try stand-up comedy.
And I know that you come from a Chinese family. Would you say they're pretty traditional?
I don't know what's traditional. I think any family that comes to America from another country, we kind of adapt.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you know, growing up, my parents actually gave me a lot of latitude and a lot of trust to say, do what I wanted to do and stay out late at night. But mostly it's because I actually was pretty much a good kid. So
I'm a good kid and I still can't do that.
yeah. So traditional, I don't know if the way is the way to put it, but I definitely learned a lot about Chinese culture and history. Went to Chinese school. I was actually born in Taiwan, so I visited Taiwan a lot. Yeah. So
In this area?
Down in the South Bay where I grew up.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So now that you're pursuing comedy, what do your parents think?
My parents are really proud of me actually for doing this. They know that it makes me really happy, and that, you know, I've been able to get some opportunities, and so they're really happy when they see that I can have that. Yeah, and that I'm basically making a living from it, and of course the bottom line matters to them because they want to make sure I don't starve. And I told them, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have enough supporters so that I could live a very, very modest lifestyle and
But still support yourself.
be doing what I love.
Tell us first about the Tuesday Night Cafe performance. Where was your very first time?
Oh yeah, Tuesday Night Cafe. If you haven't checked it out, it's a wonderful, long-standing, multidisciplinary open mic / booked mic space for
we were just there the other
singers.
night.
Oh, nice! Like singers, any kind of
We were like,
performer.
"Where's Jenny Yang?"
There's live art. There's live art there. But you know, I'm an associate artist there. I've been there for a while before doing poetry, but that was just the natural place for me to try stand-up for the first time. I don't even call it stand-up. I literally was just like standing there reading off notes, and I didn't even know if they were jokes. I just wrote something that was I don't know, this ideas. They weren't even fully jokes. I didn't know what jokes were, you know, and so I still kind of don't. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what is a joke?
I don't know. I'm not going to be able to define it for you. If it makes people laugh, it helps. So, so that's what I did. I just read it, and there's probably some kind of tape somewhere or recording of me doing it and kind of getting some laughs because I think I used the word dingleberries, and that's always a funny word, especially if you refer to genitalia as dingleberries. But yeah, that's basically what I did at Tuesday Night Cafe. But it's such a supportive and warm environment. It was like the only place that I could possibly do it.
Oh, we were like, oh my gosh, Jenny Yang was there. You know, we definitely got to go.
Aw, yay! Thank you.
So tell us about the Disoriented comedy show, the very first one.
Yeah, so in July of 2012 was 3 years ago, almost exactly, right? We did the first ever Disoriented comedy show was the kickoff to a mostly female Asian American stand-up comedy tour that never existed before. And we're like, you know what, let's just try it, let's just do it. And we did it at the David Henry Hwang Theater, or East West Players Theater, in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, which has so much sort of historical meaning. It's also the venue, the backdrop for Tuesday Night Cafe, actually, because Tuesday Night Cafe is out in the courtyard of that space. And so it was just a logical space for it. We sold it out. It was an incredible night. We had an amazing lineup of comedians, and you know, some of us who did that show only had started stand-up for a year or 2 or 3, you know, and so that was so special, and it was the opportunity for me to have done enough stand-up to say, yeah, I think I'm taking this more seriously, and to say, Mom and Dad, this is an important part of my life. I would love it if you could see at least me do some of it.
And I know your mom left a voicemail for you right after the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching one of your videos and you got really emotional about it.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that moment when what did she say and what struck a chord in you?
You know, my mom, you know, my family is not a very talk about emotions, kind of give feedback type of family. It was, you know, very much just, you know, how do we make sure we sleep well, we eat well, do well in school, right? You know, really take care of the basics. And I think for me to hear my mom, especially now that she's older and I'm older, you know, to call me and say, you know, I was just thinking about the performance. She didn't understand a word of it, but she was in the middle of this sold out crowd, right? And saw how people reacted and was very proud. She felt the need to call me a few days later and just say, wow, I was so proud of you. I didn't know that my daughter had these talents. I know you had other talents, but I didn't know you had these talents. And so she just wanted to tell me that she was really proud. And you know, it's one of those things that, like, I grew up very independent and I always did well in school, etc. And they were happy if I just gave them a straight A report card or got some award or something. But you know, it was definitely the kind of compliment or feedback and show of care and support from my mom that I wasn't necessarily asking for, but I was so grateful when I got it. Yeah.
I know you kind of teared up when you first heard it. Tell us about that moment.
Oh, yeah, you know, when she left the voicemail, it was totally unexpected, so it totally made me cry. And because it was so sincere and so out of the blue, I just was like, Mom, you're the best. Wow.
And it kind of solidified your moment of, okay, wow, I'm doing comedy. And
yeah, it was just it's just a nice affirmation from my mom. Like I said, I was still gonna do comedy whether or not I had that voicemail from my mom, you know, but it was just a nice bonus because I don't know if people know this, but you know, stand-up, it's very iterative, meaning you just try a little at a time and you just kind of workshop it every little time. Every moment is a workshop, every joke is a workshop. You know, you're always just getting constant feedback about whether or not it works when you go up on stage. And you know, you really want to really love it and really want it to keep going, right? Because you're not going to do it 100% correctly the first time or even times after that. You know, veteran comics also don't hit, you know, every single time. And so for me, it was just really nice to get that type of reinforcement. Like every time someone says good job or likes a post that, you know, is sharing about a show or what have you, or anyone who gets a ticket, I receive that as supportive energy, you know? Yeah. So whether it's coming from my mom or, you know, your interest in my story and wanting to share about the work that I do, I always, you know, I'm very grateful for that because that's the only thing that will, you know, keep me going, both internally, right, as a creative person, as well as, you know, spread the word about the work that I do, which you know, if you don't have an audience as an artist, then it's tough to say that you can make a living from it or spend a lot of time on it, right?
Yeah, I'm your audience.
Yes.
Actually, after watching it, I was like, maybe I should try my stand as a stand-up comedian.
Why not?
Well,
if you're,
tell
you
me
should.
The do's and don'ts. The top do's and don'ts.
Oh, the do is just to talk as naturally as possible and just to do it. That's really, every person who tells you advice around stand-up will just say you just have to go up and do it. It's like working out. It's like going to the gym. You can buy a gym membership, you can read books about it, you could hear people talk about it, but you can watch other people do it, but it's just, you don't know, you're not working it out, you're not learning until or building that comedy muscle until you're actually trying it, yeah.
What about the top don'ts?
Top don'ts? I think, you know, there's not a lot of don'ts in creativity. I think, there are some rules, but I'd rather not even share them because it's, you know, they're meant to be broken, especially once you get better. I think
so it's pretty free-flowing.
It's a very open form, yeah. Stand-up comedy, totally. It's one of the freest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how does one get to join disoriented comedy? Do you have to be really disoriented? If so, I mean, I'm your girl.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a certain brand that we've developed, if we want to use that term. Definitely, we want to make sure everyone's funny. But I think, you know, like the original tagline is, it's a mostly female Asian American stand-up comedy tour. And so generally,
I'm halfway in.
That's right. But just because you're Asian American or female doesn't mean that you'll get booked. You know, it's always about a combination of a lineup. There's so many really great artists out there, actually, and comedians. But you know, with each show or each city that we book, we really, you know, it's a very contextual thing. You know, it's like, well, what's a group that will make a good show? And so I will always be on the show because I run it. But you know, along with a number of other main co-producers, you know, and we kind of use them in different iterations too. They're not always on the show. But we always pride ourselves in putting a really solid production of high quality stand-up comedy, especially the kind of comedy that you don't typically see on a mainstream stage. We also try to book people who don't do easy jokes, so jokes that you might have heard about. We try to book folks who are unique and have a very singular voice, so that when you go to a show like Disoriented Comedy, you see that we might have similar faces or coloring or whatever, but in fact we actually have very diverse experiences and voices. You're not going to just hear a hack, sort of boring ethnic Asian joke that you've probably heard millions of times.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Asian jokes, I know that one of your biggest jokes is the Asian goggles.
Oh yeah, that's a popular one.
She looks at me and says, "Yeah, you got Asian goggles." And walks to the back. I'm like, Asian goggles? What are they, extra slanty? What do they have on them? Hello Kitty? Like when I put them on, do I see the world in anime? Asian goggles. She brings them out. Turns out they're just regular snowboarding goggles with extra foam padding under the nose. I'm like, oh shit, I thought you were racist. Turns out you're just trying to tell me I have a flat face.
But yeah, so it's one of my oldest jokes, and I really still love it. And in fact, so much so that I wrote it up as a monologue for a monologue book that actually got published. So I have 5 or 6 monologues in this book called Women's Comedic Monologues that are actually funny.
And you also have the tapioca song, which I really like.
Yes, I have not done that in forever, but you've gone to the deep cuts.
Yeah.
On your Google search, you've gone to the deep cuts.
Tapioca milk tea is what I like. I just want to rap about it when I'm on the mic. It's real smooth, kind of creamy with piocas to savor and a hint of tea for that motherland flavor. Sisters on the street, they squirm with glee. They know the oral delight of tapioca milk tea. Cause it's tapioca, hey, drink it up. I love to see the little black balls in the cup. Sip the big fat straw, the balls are squishing around. Tapioca kisses your back here in my part of town. Come on, white boys, you know you want this.
It's a fun little thing. I wrote it actually when I was doing poetry. This is even before I did stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tell us how we can see more of you in your comedy shows.
Yeah, you know what? If you go to jennyyang.tv, that's JENNYYANG.tv, you can always stay up to date on what I'm doing. I'm always posting the latest news, and there's going to be a calendar there where you could see what my next shows are.
Awesome. And then this year was your very first annual Comedy Festival, and you're
That's
also
right.
planning on having one next year.
Yes.
Tell us
so
a little bit about
it'll be the
Comedy
second
one.
annual comedyfest.com. There it is. It's not double the comedy. That's why there's 2 comedy words in the festival name. Yeah, you know.
And it's only for white people, right?
No. So basically, it's essentially it's an Asian American comedy festival that didn't exist before. Nowhere on it we say Asian American, but
I was reading the description. I'm like, oh, okay.
pretty
White
generic.
people. Huh? Okay.
But essentially, it's an Asian American comedy festival. It was really inspired by the fact that in Los Angeles, there's really such a robust independent comedy community. of improvisers, stand-up comics, sketch writers, and just scripted writers. And so we are like, well, why don't we just get everyone together? Everyone has their own respective audiences. Let's just share our audiences so that we could all kind of build the overall live comedy going audience in our Asian American communities in Southern California. And so, you know, we've booked people all along the West Coast. We have a bunch of folks from San Francisco, we have someone from Portland, and we just want to expand from there. But for the most part, these are local, really accomplished and up-and-coming stand-up comedians and sketch and improvisers, and they're going to all come together for a festival, and that's what's going to happen next year at the second annual one.
Yeah, so you also do a lot of BuzzFeed videos.
Yeah.
And they're really funny.
Thank you.
You did one where you have a close relationship with your mom.
Yeah.
And you did a video where she actually answered your questions about sex.
I know how mortifying. I was gonna barf. I was literally gonna barf.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was. I was so stressed out in the run up to that. So I was like, oh, how's my mom gonna react? But in the end, she was so amazing. Like she's so great. Yeah.
你感觉对这个性关系，你觉得是怎么样？
我觉得好像是工作。
And one of your jokes was also that you never knew the Chinese word for sex.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't either until I watched the video, that video
I know.
with your mom.
And I mean,
what
technically, that's not even the real word for sex. It's like 男女关系. It's like guy-girl relations, or 性关系, or sexual relations.
Okay.
But relations, 性, it's like sex. It's like, yeah, I guess 性, it's like, I don't know. I guess that's the best way to put it. But yeah, prior to that, I did not know the Chinese word for sex.
Yeah, and you never really talked about it with your mom either.
No, oh no. No. I just think it was so fun and important to just say to folks like, okay, this is something that we can talk about, right? That it shouldn't be that taboo. And in fact, it actually helps our health, sexual health, and health in general, to be able to talk about reproductive issues and sexual health issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and so let's do a little sex ed here.
Okay.
For the Asian American youth out there.
Yeah.
For many of them out there that, you know, maybe don't get as much sex ed from their parents.
Yeah.
What would you like to share or say advice-wise for those watching out there?
Sex is awesome. Even if you want to wait until marriage, it's still going to be great, and it should be a beautiful thing. You should do it with the people that you love, and always be safe. Look up safe sex. You could Google anything these days, so just Google safe sex. Remember to include the word safe, because if you just put in sex, it'll draw up a totally different set of results. Safe sex.
So I want to end that there and
Yeah.
say thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome.
For coming on this.
Yeah, I got to sit on this awesome throne. Reuse, recycle, reduce, you guys. And then, I don't know, everything else here is so beautiful. But yeah, thank you for having me,
We're so
Amy.
glad that you took the time to spend some time with us and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to your future shows.
Yes, thank you. See you online, JennyYang.tv.
Let's have some tea before you leave.
Oh yes, cheers.
Cheers.
Kanpei. There it is.
Thanks so much for watching Amy Lieu Presents. Please tell us in the comments below who you'd like us to interview. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video. Hi everybody, welcome to Amy Lieu Presents. We're actually gonna play a game with Jenny Yang, the funny comedian, and it's gonna be called Disoriented 1 to 10, because I know that disoriented comedy is a huge part of your life.
Yes.
And we just wanna know what can get you disoriented.
Yes.
So we're gonna put our fists like this, and then I'm gonna read off a list of things that could possibly get you disoriented, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna play along with you.
Yeah.
So 10 is the most disoriented you'll be,
Yep.
and 1 is the least disoriented you'll be.
Got it.
Okay, so you ready?
Easy.
Okay. All
Where
right.
do I win? Oh, okay.
How disoriented would you be if your mom walked in on you having sex?
Oh, I don't have sex, so that's a 0.
I'm gonna be 10. That would be super disorienting for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew you didn't have sex.
At all. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah, so if someone came up and asked you if you were pregnant, and you're not really pregnant, but someone came up and asked you, congratulations, are
Oh.
you pregnant?
Uh-huh.
How disoriented would you be?
5.
I would say maybe an 8.
Okay.
Because that has happened to me several times.
It's rude. It's rude.
But they were sincerely happy. They were sincerely
I know.
congratulatory that.
Don't comment on women's bodies. Let's not do that. Okay.
Okay. And how disoriented would you be if someone asked you where you're really from?
Oh, I don't get disoriented anymore because I know how to talk back. So
Well,
zero.
So what do you say?
From your mom? I don't know. I don't answer.
Oh, you're just like, okay, bye. See you later.
Yeah, I try not to surround myself with people who want to ask me those kinds of dumb questions.
Yeah. I would
0.
probably be 5 too. And I would just probably be like, oh, okay, answer, and probably not
Yeah,
engage.
exactly.
Anymore.
Don't engage.
Okay, and how disoriented would you be if someone came up to you randomly on the streets and handed you Asian goggles?
Oh, if they handed me Asian goggles, I'd be a little disoriented, but very happy because I'll totally use them.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5 too.
Yeah, but I'd be thankful, be like, thanks. That's a good product.
5.
Yeah.
5.
High five.
I would do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, how disoriented would you be if you walked in on your parents having sex?
Oh God, that's a 10.
10.
Easy.
10 for me too.
Easy.
Super awkward. Super disorienting.
I was conceived like the Virgin Mary, conceived of Jesus. Just kidding, I'm not Jesus.
You're like the Virgin Jenny.
That's right.
If it was a sold out crowd at a disoriented comedy showcase and everybody in the audience was male
Uh-huh.
and they were all males of all different races except Asian, how
Oh.
disoriented would you be?
Oh, I'd be very disoriented because it's mostly Asian Americans who come to our show.
And then the people would be, the comedians would be females.
Yep.
So do you feel like it draws a male audience or?
It's a
not
mix.
really?
No, we get both.
Mix, huh?
Mhm.
So yeah, you'd be disoriented.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Yeah.
10. Because I'd be
That
the
would
only
be
girl
weird.
if I show up.
Yeah. Totally.
And the only Asian and the only girl.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that growing up, you wanted to attend really prestigious schools like Harvard, Yale.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, if Harvard sent you an automatic acceptance letter, how disoriented would you be?
I would be very disoriented because I didn't even
Out of a
apply.
scale 1 to 10.
But I didn't even apply,
They
so
probably found out about you through your comedy shows.
I've already said no to them once, so I can say no to them again. In your face, Harvard.
Oh, wow. I would be probably disoriented too. 'Cause like you said, I never applied, but hey, you know what? I'd be happy.
Yeah, actually, a long time ago though, I did apply for a grad school there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then you got accepted and then you rejected it.
Yes, I went to UCLA. This is my previous life in politics.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
went to UCLA too.
Yeah, so I
Go
went to
Bruins!
Yeah, grad school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yes, UCLA is great.
I'm so glad we have a Bruin thing going on with it. But non-Bruins I love too.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Jenny, for playing Disoriented 1 to 10 with us.
you are so welcome.
I'm gonna
Thank you for making up a game just for disoriented comedy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.